Hello friends, and welcome to this channel, Great Saints. And today we see many wonderful things happening within the church, also contradictions as well. But one of the wonderful things, of course, was the pilgrimage to Chartres. We saw thousands and thousands of people, many young people, making this pilgrimage to one of the traditional shrines of the Catholic world. Now, did you know that Chartres Cathedral, in fact, was built to house the veil of Our Lady? That's the tremendous relic that is there. And the veil is an elegant, very simple, elegant, but appears to have a special charm about it. And perhaps this was the veil Our Lady wore when she used to attend Mass. On the other hand, unfortunately, there are people as well who are critical of this. And there's certain old and grey people within the church who they label these pilgrims as backwardists. Surely these young people are the lifeblood of the future church and a sign of tremendous hope. But now, in Padre Pio's life, he had to endure similar things. People accused him of being a medievalist, a backwardist, I guess we could say. And after all, Padre Pio advocated that people, in his confessions, they would always live a morally upright life, with no dishonesty, no things like fornication, anything like that, and that people remain faithful to their natural marriage. And so in that sense, in today's world, of course, they would be seen as having a backwardist. Let's take a look at this wonderful example from Padre Pio's life. And this is a reflection brought to us by the Bishop of Foggia of the time when Padre Pio was there. So it's from some years back, but it was aired on EWTN. And you may ask, why Foggia? What's so special about Foggia? And obviously it is, Foggia is the nearest town, nearest major center to where Padre Pio was. In a sense, he had a bird's eye view over what Padre Pio was doing, what he was up to. And his name is Bishop Paolo Carta. And he says, let us try to penetrate as far as is possible into that marvelous world where Padre Pio's heart appears in full harmony, full unity with the heart of our Heavenly Mother. And so I imagine, especially during his times of trial, Padre Pio relied on this to get him through those times. The bishop continues, for our edification we will meditate on 2 points here: the love and trust Padre Pio placed in Mary Most Holy, and on his personal reply to the Fatima message. Now, on the first point, that is the love and trust that Padre Pio had for Our Lady, the bishop tells us it is enough to just simply look around and to see in the splendid shrine. It sings a hymn, it sings praises to Padre Pio's devotion to Mary Most Holy. Okay, so here the bishop is talking about the what they called the new church at the time. So that's not the current one, the 2003 saucer-shaped. This splendid shrine is a hymn. It sings the praises of Padre Pio's devotion to Mary Most Holy. The bishop says each stone of this magnificent temple will repeat his name for centuries to come, because he wanted the shrine and he succeeded in this incredible realization as people from all parts of the world responded generously with the necessary funds to erect this palace to the Queen of Heaven and Earth. But apart from this, Bishop Paolo says the whole of Padre Pio's life was lit up with the gentle light of Our Lady. And one sees this on Padre Pio's face, I believe. If you look at images and pictures of Padre Pio, there's this radiant joy, a radiant happiness about him, a glow, the gentle light of Our Lady. Then he gives us another example in Padre Pio's letter. This is from the 6th of May in 1913. We see his filial gentleness. This is Padre Pio writing, this dear mother continues to lavish her maternal care upon me, and she takes care of me to an exceeding degree. I'm all aflame, Padre Pio says, and yet there is no fire. I feel myself held fast and bound to his Son by means of the Mother. That's exactly what Our Lady always does. She binds us to her Son. And Padre Pio says, I'd like to fly off and to invite all people, all creatures, to love Jesus and Mary. So that is the result of his devotion to Our Lady. Now, on the second point, this is Padre Pio's reply to the message of Fatima. Bishop Paulo Carta explains what the message of Fatima was about. So Our Lady appeared 3 times to the children at Fatima. And so this is now the 50th anniversary. This is when he's making the speech. And he describes first what the message of Fatima was about. It was a message from heaven of salvation. And the summary, Bishop Paulo insists, is contained in the words which were spoken to the children. And here Our Lady said to them, you have seen hell where the souls of poor sinners go. So there's a real problem here because a lot of sinners end up going to hell. But now we need a solution as well from Our Lady. And sure enough, she supplies a solution. To save them, our Lord wants to establish devotion in the world to my Immaculate Heart. She always leads people to Christ, of course. And so she says, pray a lot and make sacrifices for sinners. And take note that many souls go to hell because there's just no one who makes sacrifices for them. So it's up to you and I now to make these sacrifices. And do you wish to offer yourself to God, then accept all of the sufferings that he wishes to send you in reparation for the sins. So that's Our Lady speaking. She advises as well, pray the rosary every day, and the most holy hearts of Jesus and Mary, they will certainly hear your petitions. That's the message of Fatima. Now, Bishop Paulo Carta says, I think I can assert that in the half century which has followed those apparitions, no one in the Church has given a more complete reply than Padre Pio himself. Because the maternal anxiety of the Immaculate Heart of Mary for the souls going to hell, he had profoundly and completely, it had invaded Padre Pio's heart. And so because of this, he made all of the sacrifices and the penances that we see in his life in order to snatch these souls away from eternal damnation. Now he gives some examples. So Our Lady of Fatima especially requested the prayer of the rosary. And who could count the hours that Padre Pio spent praying the rosary in conversation with our Lord, with Our Lady, for the conversion and the salvation of sinners? Who can count those hours? And who more than he, who more than Padre Pio, held this rosary in his hand night and day, filling all of the free moments of his day with the most devout recital of the rosary? And with how much love and insistence did he not recommend this rosary to everyone as a means of salvation? Now, of course, there were objections to this. And one day someone said to Padre Pio, one of his penitents in confession, Padre, today they say the rosary is now out of date. That is no longer in fashion. It is no longer said in so many churches. Padre Pio's response, let us do what our fathers did, and all will be well. That's Padre Pio's promise. Pray the rosary and all will be well. And we could not have been born in a more depraved world, someone objected to Padre Pio. So remember, the world wars have happened. It's now the 60s. The explosion of the sexual revolution is about to happen. Padre Pio's response, the one who prays a lot saves himself. The one who prays little is in danger. And now listen to this one by Padre Pio, the one who does not pray loses his soul. So who will be able to help these people away from damnation? Now, Padre Pio made these recommendations, we can say. Someone asked him, Padre Pio, say something to us. Give us a word of inspiration. And this was his response: love Our Lady, make her known to others, and always say your rosary, and say it well, devoutly. And he continued, Satan always tries to destroy this prayer, but he will never succeed, because it is the prayer of her who triumphs over everything and everyone. So that's the promise attached with the rosary. And secondly, another time Padre Pio made a recommendation. This was 2 days before Padre Pio died. He repeated, love Our Lady and make her loved. Recite the rosary, and recite it always, and recite it as much as you can. So that's Padre Pio's response to Our Lady's request for the rosary. The second one, Our Lady didn't stop there. She asked for people to make sacrifices, mortifications, penances, accepting these sufferings, embraced, of course, to save souls from hell. And the bishop says, when I spoke on this theme the last time, previously, I presented Padre Pio's spirituality, precisely this: a man of God who prays, he absolves, he suffers, and he offers up. Exactly what Our Lady had requested. Now he gives some examples. How well did our dear Padre Pio understand this need? In fact, Padre Pio said, souls are not given as gifts. They have to be bought. We have to do our part, our sacrifices. And you do not know what they cost Jesus, he continues. Now they still have to be bought, always with that same coin. So the coin of suffering, I guess, that our Lord used is the same coin that applies to us today. And those, of course, are Padre Pio's words. Now, Padre Pio paid and bought souls at a most high price, the bishop insists, through his heroic penances, with minimal food and sleep. So in fact, the doctors who studied Padre Pio, they concluded that he did not eat enough to have survived. It was a miracle, of course, an ongoing miracle. And then again, there were the 58 years of ministry in the confession. It was a martyrdom, he says. And there were so many misunderstandings about Padre Pio. Prohibitions were placed on him. Serious disciplinary measures were taken against Padre Pio. And of course, through no fault of his own. And Padre Pio just endured all of this. He turned all of this rejection around, and he offered up to become a source of grace from heaven. So that was Padre Pio's medieval or backwardist approach to things. He turned all of this into sources of grace from heaven. And with enormous difficulties, he had to overcome things. For instance, the building of his hospital, the relief suffering. There were so many challenges there. Padre Pio overcame all of these things. And above all, the bishop tells us, was his crucifixion, which lasted for exactly half a century. And those, of course, were the open wounds on Padre Pio's hands, his feet, his side. They were tremendously painful. And through all of this, Padre Pio was responding to the request made by Our Lady at Fatima. We do thank you for watching this video, and do join in this apostolate. A good way is, of course, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Absolutely free, no obligations, and you're welcome to share your comments to these videos below, share the videos with others, and a special thanks to those who make these videos possible through their donations. Without these donations, these videos simply will not happen, and so we thank you for your help there. And until next time, we do ask Padre Pio to bless you. Virgo